In a small and quiet village hidden in the green hills of Kenya, there lived an old couple whose love story touched everyone who knew them. They were not rich, they were not famous, but their love was legendary. And one promise they made would leave their entire village in tears. Their names were Amina and Kofi. For more than 50 years, they lived together in a small mud house beside their farm. Every day of their lives was spent working the land. They planted maize. They grew beans. They harvested cassava. But the most beautiful thing they grew was love. Every morning before sunrise, Amina prepared hot tea while Kofi sharpened his old farming hoe. Then, hand in hand, they would walk slowly to their farm. Even with gray hair and wrinkled faces, they still laughed like young lovers. The villagers often said, "No two people love each other like Amina and Kofi." Life was not always easy. There were seasons of drought, times when crops failed, and days when sickness visited their home. But no matter what came their way, they faced it together. When Kofi became weak, Amina carried heavier loads. When Amina's knees started to ache, Kofi slowed his steps so they could walk side by side. They had one rule in life: never face anything alone. One peaceful evening, as the sun slowly disappeared behind the hills, they sat outside their little home, watching the wind move through their crops. Kofi gently held Amina's hands and said, "Kofi," soft voice, "I cannot imagine a single day in this world without you." Amina smiled. Then she said something that would become their greatest promise. "Amina, then let us promise each other something. When our time comes, we should leave this world on the same day. Not you before me, not me before you." Kofi looked into her eyes. Then he nodded. "Kofi, a promise." Years passed. Their backs bent with age. Their steps became slower, but their love never grew old. They were still together, still farming, still holding hands. Then one quiet morning, something unusual happened. The villagers noticed that the farm gate was still closed. There were no footprints on the path, and no smoke coming from Amina and Kofi's kitchen. Worried, a few neighbors decided to check on them. Inside the small house, they found something unforgettable. Amina and Kofi were lying on their bed, side by side, their hands gently holding each other, peaceful, as if they had simply fallen asleep. They had both passed away on the same day, just as they had promised. The story of Amina and Kofi spread throughout the village. From that day on, whenever young couples argued or spoke carelessly about love, the elders would tell them this story, the story of two simple farmers from Kenya who proved that true love does not fade with time, and sometimes